Welcome to this video today, which is all about Forex trading for beginners. And what I want to look at today is how to trade Forex with total confidence and discipline. Now, I'm sure most traders have heard that obviously emotional control, or lack of it, causes most traders to lose. And yet, when they come in the markets, they lack emotional control as well. They lack discipline and they lose. It's not enough to just say you need a high degree of emotional control. You need to realise the reasons that actually cause you to have a lack of emotional control. And I think in terms of that, you need to know the biases that are conditioned into you by society, which are guaranteed to make you lose in the Forex markets. Not only do you need to be aware of what the biases are, you need to basically combat them. And I want to look at that in detail today. I also want to look at a very powerful technique which you can use to really reinforce discipline and emotional control, which is called anchoring. And I first became interested in anchoring when I read it was an interview with Charles Faulkner in the New Market Wizards. And I read it and I was interested in it. Then I read it in another book, Trader Vic, Methods of Wall Street Master, by one of my favourite traders, Vic Spirandia, and he was saying how powerful anchoring is as a technique. And I tried anchoring, and it is a wonderful technique to help you, trade, with confidence, discipline. So we're going through anchoring as well. Now, first of all, I want to talk about conditioning. And in terms of conditioning, I want to go to perhaps one of the most famous experiments of all time to do with conditioning, if not the most famous, which was conducted by Ivan Pavlov back in the 1920s. I mean, I'm sure many people have heard of Pavlov's dogs, but I'm sure not that many people actually understand its relevance to us as traders. If you are familiar with conditioned responses, you can skip the next 3 minutes. But for those of you who are not, there's a 3-minute clip coming up on the work of Ivan Pavlov. And then I'm going to discuss it in more detail in terms of Forex trading and also biases and how to combat them. So here's the clip, and I'll be back in a moment.
Pavlov's aim was to discover what caused saliva to flow. He rerouted the salivary ducts to the outside of his dog's cheek so that he could collect and measure the spittle. Perhaps, he thought, the production of saliva might be the result of a fixed nervous reflex, like a knee jerk.
5 минут 42,5 секунды.
After taking many measurements of spittle, he confirmed that the dogs drooled automatically when their tongues touched food. He called the response the salivation reflex.
4,5. Хорошая собачка. Я предлагаю поменять собаку.
But his work started to run into trouble. As his dogs became familiar with the experimental routine, they started to fill their cheek tubes before Pavlov had a chance to stimulate their tongues. The dogs were learning to anticipate food. Pavlov tried a new technique. He erected screens so that the dogs couldn't see what was going on. Before passing meat through the hatch, he introduced a stimulus that was totally unrelated to feeding. A ticking metronome. At first, the dog dripped saliva into its cheek tube only when the food appeared. But after a number of trials, the dog began to connect the ticking with the arrival of meat. Soon, the sound alone made the dog drool. Whatever the stimulus, his dogs could soon be conditioned to produce saliva. Pavlov believed that he had discovered how animals learned, even in the wild.
Welcome back after that short clip there on the work of Ivan Pavlov. Now, later on in the 30s, I think it was, a guy called John Watson conducted similar experiments on children with exactly the same results. So, as traders, what can we learn from their work? Well, basically, that we are conditioned by our environment. Okay, so we're conditioned by society to have a certain reaction to money. Okay, so if you were to take money effectively as food, and then the stimuluses that we learn, most of them are like the metronome. They are not related to making money. Okay, so what we have to do is be aware of what we've learnt from our environment and from our society, how we've been conditioned with biases. Then what we need to do is change the stimulus in terms of how we react to money. The idea that the human emotional response to money is innate is totally wrong. It is actually conditioned by society with biases. Now, what I'm going to do is show you the 6 biases, why they cause traders to lose, and a quote from one of the great traders to go with each of the biases. I'm going to come back, show you how to overcome them, and also use anchoring. So here they are, and I'll be back in a moment. Welcome back after that short summary there of the 6 major biases, which in my view cause traders to lose money. Now, you can see in each and every one of those biases, the stimulus that we have from making money actually causes us to lose money. Now, most traders will not even think about those biases at all, be unaware of them. So I think, if we are, then obviously we've got a head start in our quest for profits. Now, in terms of making money, obviously, only need a simple method. If you're researching a simple method, that's all you need. Obviously, the right mindset to apply it is the key. I would strongly recommend that you read books from the really top traders on their psychology and how they made money. I've done a video of the top 10 trading books of all time. Strongly recommend you read all of those books. If you do, you'll basically have an idea of what it really takes to achieve success in terms of the psychology. Now, what you have to do after getting an education, of course, is do it in real time under pressure. And in my view, you will inevitably have to go through a learning curve. You'll make mistakes. Also, you'll have periods where you're feeling a little bit unconfident and so forth. And I just want to now move on to anchoring. So you can anchor yourself against making a mistake again. You can learn from it, and you can anchor a state of mind that basically keeps you disciplined. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show a short clip, a couple of quotes from Vic Spirandio, some ancient rocks, and a brief glimpse of the house that I was born in many years ago. I'll explain why in a moment. Back in just a minute. Welcome back after that short clip there. My house is way off to the left now. Those images are from round where I used to live, and those stones were put down by the ancients, I think about 3000 BC. Monuments obviously came a little bit later. Now, from people watching that clip, it won't really generate any sort of response at all emotionally. For me, it will be an intense feeling that will come over me when I see those stones. I had a real big affinity with them when I was a child. They make me feel, proud. They make me feel determined. They make me feel motivated. It's a very personal experience to me. The important point to keep in mind, makes me feel a certain way. It is a stimulus. Now, we all have events in our lives, objects. It could be a song that will make us feel a certain way. For example, you met your wife to a certain song you hear on the radio, you're going to feel differently, aren't you? It's a stimulus. Now, as we go through life, we go through a whole range of emotions. We'll feel confident sometimes, we won't feel confident other times, we'll feel happy, we'll feel stressed out. We all have a wide range of emotions that we experience throughout our lives. Now, in terms of anchoring, the idea is to basically put in a stimulus, into your subconscious that will trigger you to feel a certain way. I'm just going to give you one example. Let's say you're trading and you're not feeling too confident. You're beginning to doubt yourself a bit. What you need to do is you need to go back to a period in your life when you were feeling extremely confident. Go back to that time and you think about it. You think about it intently, Your whole mind, body and spirit must be involved. It must be a very intense thought process. At the height of the experience, you want to drop an anchor to put it into your subconscious. Now, the anchor can be any form of sensory stimulus. It could be, for example, you repeating a few words in the same way and doing something physical. Let's say what I do is a thumb and a forefinger pulled together, You drop that anchor in when you're in the moment. That experience is very intense. You may have to practice it a few times. However, when you do the words, thumb and the forefinger, you will trigger that feeling back within you. So if you're not feeling too confident, you do the anchor and then you will feel confident. Now, in terms of anchors, they can be done for a huge amount of different responses. I've just given you one there, which is confidence. Now, when I first read about anchors, I thought, I'll try it, but I bet it doesn't work. it does work. And yeah, I've mentioned Vic Spirindia, one of the great traders, is a fan of anchoring. So is Charles Faulkner, another great trader. It's just another way of basically making us disciplined and confident. And as traders, there's no question we have to work on remaining disciplined and confident at all times. Now, in terms of this video, we've learned, Pavlov's dogs and the work of Watson later on, that you can condition stimuluses and basically generate a response. You can. And that is all that anchoring does. It's a very powerful tool, not just in Forex trading, but also in life. Now, in terms of most Forex traders, they will not think about stimuluses and responses. They will not consider biases. I think if we do, then we've got a advantage over the vast majority of traders who lose money. I think, in terms of knowing the biases that come into work, that have been conditioned within you, you can basically overcome them with education. I mentioned those books earlier on. You can also make yourself feel more confident, less stressed, more motivated by dropping in anchors as well. It's just another tool that we can use as Forex traders. Now, I haven't seen many people actually mention anchoring as a tool you should use in Forex trading. I think you should. And in terms of this video today, that's it now. I think I've covered all the points. I hope you enjoyed it as per usual. Ever got any questions or queries, please feel free to email me. Take care and have a good day.